Educators have a great opportunity. You're a perfect example of this, Paul. You know, you're a consultant, you've been a principal, you've been a faculty member, you've been a teacher, you've been a whole bunch of things. And that's going to continue on, hopefully until you go to the next world, right? And the key is educators are models, you know, that they have the opportunity to really make a difference, not just in the classroom, but through active learning, experiential learning. I remember when I was going to high school, I can remember seeing teachers that in the summertime, they were real estate people, or they were photographers, or they were writers, or they were cultivating other elements of their lives, many of which drew some additional income. So our hope is that that kind of modeling can be transferred into the young people of today, because frankly, these concepts are mandatory.
The biggest risk, I guess, is not to have taken risk.
Well, risk is fun. I mean, and again, you got to do it intelligently. You got to be smart. You got to do your homework. You've got to be prepared. You've got to do some planning. It doesn't alleviate any of that stuff. It's not going blind eye after some dream. It's about hopefully developing, manufacturing, enhancing a plan that makes your life as meaningful and rewarding as possible. And to me, what I've experienced and what I've seen others that I think have led a relevant, purposeful, fulfilling life is that they have taken some risks. They've navigated between worlds. When they fail, they persevere and pick themselves up. They're not afraid of failure because they know that they're going to learn from it if in fact it happens. And the more they experience that, the more the chance they know that success is right around the corner. In whatever it is, a specific project or a career.
Got another one for you. Hide and seek.
Hide and seek. I loved that game when I was a kid. It's actually, Paul, hide or seek. You know, I've been was in the staffing and human capital business, as I've mentioned in prior segments, for 2.5 decades. And interestingly enough, after interviewing thousands of people, placing thousands of people, it became pretty evident to me that there were two kinds of workers out there. Those that were hiding and those that were seeking. The hiders, actually, many of them got caught underneath the veil of an institution. In fact, they got shackled by it, frankly.
They were in many ways defined by the institution.
Defined by the institution, controlled by the institution, in some ways enslaved by the institution. And it wasn't just in a physical or fiscal way, it was almost in an emotional and to a lesser degree spiritual way. They were not unbounded. Then there were these seekers, and some of them still worked in the same companies for long periods of time, but they were always looking for the next gig, the next opportunity, the next deal, the next learning experience. They just thrived on this thought process of moving from one world to the next, whether it was learning a new skill, whether it was joining a new team, whether it was doing something new in their personal or professional lives.
You don't just mean job jumping.
No.
Could be in the same job, could be just always looking.
Always looking, and actually really being in the present in whatever world they were in, because they were taking it in so that they could learn from that experience. And those opportunities to learn were creating experiences. Those experiences were creating new opportunities. But those hiders, the people who, again, got caught up maybe in this environment, and some institutions wanted this to happen. We hope that doesn't happen anymore, but some of them, I think, wanted it to happen, blinded these people. It froze these people. It paralyzed some people. And those that hid ultimately are going to get trapped, and in some cases trampled. But those that are gaining new experiences, new challenges, new seeking, are gaining new experiences, toolkits, skill sets that are going to propel them into the next opportunity and the next maybe part of their career, or maybe part of their fun part of their life. They're forever expanding. So that's the concept between hiding or seeking. And by the way, each of us has a little bit of that in all of us. I mean, we all have some level of hiding and some level of seeking. And usually what happens is one part of us becomes exceptionally pronounced in seeking and the other hides. If we can find balancing acts between all of these worlds and create some level of seeking between financial, physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, relational, the list goes on, that leads to relevance, that leads to long-time purposeful existence, and by the way, prepares you for the next seeking opportunity and allows you to navigate the river in ways that you had never thought of.
I don't want people out there to be thinking that there isn't a time to rest, to rejuvenate, to take a break, etc. It's that balance you're talking about between hiding and seeking.
Absolutely, and sometimes taking pause is the best thing you can do. We talked about it when we alluded to the river. Once in a while, there's nothing wrong with using your oars to shuffle onto the shore and take a look at everything that's going on around you. In many cases in this day and age, that can feel chaotic and overwhelming. And when you take that pause, you'll be able to read the river, read the street signs, listen to the inner voice, and do some things with your life and gain some skill sets and experience that if you hadn't taken pause, if you just do, you might not otherwise experience.
I'm glad you made that point.
Well, you made the point, but thanks.
Yes, I did. So let me summarize what we've covered today, some of our key points. We've tried to define rethinking risk and why it's important to every student, perhaps every teacher, to everyone. We've talked a little bit about when learn, when think things through, just the whole concept of rethinking win versus losing.
Lose, learn.
Lose, learn.
You reminded me.
Yes. We've talked about fear-based kinds of decisions. We've hit on the concept of retirement and thinking of that phase of your life completely differently, we hope. We've talked about the river, and finally we ended up with hide or seek. So thanks so much for listening today. We think we have some great exercises and ideas for you to use in your classroom. Stay tuned.